Folks, welcome to FiddleHed Fiddle Lessons. We're going to do the tune Chief O'Neill's Favorite Variation. And so we're going to add some Irish ornamentation to the song. If you don't already know Chief O'Neill's Favorite, then go learn the basic version first. So without further ado, I'm going to play the entire tune, and then I'm going to break it down for you, part by part, note by note. Here we go. What a great melody. Love that. So I got a D drone going. That's how I like to practice these tunes, and you can do it too. Got all these drones available on FiddleHed.com. There's apps you could do in case you don't want to do that, or you could even record your own drones and play them back. Okay, so I'm going to turn it off now, and we're just going to work through the tune part by part, and I'm just going to basically add things to the basic version. So I'm not going to go very granular, very detailed on what the notes are. I'm going to more just kind of play the basic and then show you some added things. So let's start the first quarter of the A part. So I'm going to first play the basic part. Now I'm going to play the variation very slowly. I guess that wouldn't be very slowly. That would just be slowly. So now let's go into more detail on what I added on this part. On this, I added a mordant, or in Irish terminology, it's sometimes called a double grace note. And all in slow motion, it's 1 low 2 1. And then you just learn to speed it up, or just through practice. Alright, and then so that's the first half of that bar. The second half, the basic was 3 1 low 2 open. And so there I added, I converted that to a triplet, so we went 3 to 1. So I added a note in between the low 2. And then for the next two notes, low 2 to open A, I added a triplet there. Low 2, 1, open. So the effect is. So now what I want to do is I want to take some time and loop between the basic and the variation on just this second half of the bar. I think it'll be very useful for you. 3, 4. Basic, variation, variation, basic, and you can speed it up. Now let's play the whole first bar with the variation. Okay, let's keep going. The second bar without variation, the basic would. So the first 4 notes are the same. In my version, this particular version, it's not authoritative. You can make your own version. M-O-U-S-E. And that's the beginning. And then we add some variation. Instead of just a 1, we're going to add a 16th note triplet. In slow motion, a 1-3-1 really quick. I like to slur those together. Again. Alright, now let's put that all together. Awesome. Let's move on to the second quarter of the A part. So here's the variation. No, let me start with the basic. Now let's add the variation. So I added two things. I added there I added a 16th note triplet. 2, 3, 2, 1, 2. Slur it again. Even more slowly. Good, and the next part, the basic was, and I added a mordant there. Low 2 to 3 before the phrase. And then just speed it up. That 3 can almost be just like a flicker. It doesn't even have to be tonal, just kind of. So it might take you a while to get it up to speed, but you can still play with. And so now I just want to, let's just go between the basic and the variation version, just because I think it's very important to do it. Let's take the whole second quarter and go through the basic and then the variation and do that in a loop twice. One of the key concept I'm trying to teach in these variation lessons is to alternate between something super basic and then a variation. It's kind of like testing. So basic. Variation. Back to basic. Variation. Okay, cool. So the third quarter is the same as the first. I could have done a different variation here, but in these lessons I'm trying to not give you too much information. I want you to just learn these few things really well, and then in a follow-up supplemental video I'll suggest even more things you could do with it. So for now we'll keep the third quarter as it is, but let's review it. I mean, that's a lot already, right? If you can get that, if you can get everything in that phrase down really well and really comfortable, then you'll be able to unlock other variations on your own. All right, so now let's look at the last quarter of the A part. Okay, so then that was the basic. The variation would be. So for this bar, the second to last bar was, and there I added a 16th note triplet, 2, 3, 2, 1, 2, just like the second bar. And then instead of, I added an 8th note triplet. D3, A1. So you have. Let's loop on that, just the variation. Okay, good. So I got thrown off a little bit. I want to pause because it sounds like that part sounds like. Remember what movie that's from? Chariots of Fire. So anyway, let's get back to our regularly scheduled fiddle lesson. And then at the end with this, I just added a mordent. 2, 3, 2, open. So the whole fourth chord of the A part. All right, so now I'm going to slowly play the entire A part. So sweet. We have to do a lesson on that. So that's the A part. Cool, cool, cool. Now let's see. Let's do the B part. And just so you know, the second half of the B part is the same as the second half of the A part. So knowing that makes our job a lot easier. It's a lot less work on the brain if you recognize the repetition. And I have a lesson on that called repeating patterns in fiddle tunes. Sounds like a mathematics dissertation, but it's actually pretty helpful, I think, to be able to see the repetition and to be able to simplify tunes so you can learn them more quickly, and then you understand the basic melody and you can be more creative with adding variation that way. Okay, so the basic version of the first quarter is variation. And that's the first quarter of the B part. And so let's look at this. And so that's I'm gonna insert a 16th note triplet for that. I'm gonna divide this quarter note, which is an F or D low 2, like so. All right, and then we have. So I'm gonna I now want to loop on between the basic and the variation for just this little bit. So the whole bar will sound like. That's the variation. And the second bar, the basic version was. And so in the first half, I converted that to triplets, just like we did in the A part. And the triplets are A low 2, 1, open, A3, low 2, 1. Together. All right, and then let's loop that. Just that. We're now just loop the variation. 3, 4. Once more. Okay, and then the next bar, the next quarter. So this is very similar to the basic version. The only thing I added was a mordent at the beginning. So open, 1, open, mordent. And so that's the entire second chord of the B part. And the third and the fourth are the same as the A, so I won't do them again. But of course, there's infinite ways you could do variation with a tune. And I'm just giving you a few ideas because I want to keep it simple. Now I'm just going to slowly play the entire B part variation, and you can join in if you like. If not, actually I recommend, even if you think you know it really well, why don't you pause the video and practice and loop practice some of the different parts. Cool, and now I'll just do the entire B part. 3, 4. That's it. Chief O'Neill's favorite, my new favorite. I hope you have fun with this tune. It's a sweet, sweet melody. And remember that more important than doing this variation is just to really get the melody across strong. And sometimes just always ask yourself, is this variation helping or maybe making it a little harder to hear the melody, making it more obscure? So that's why I always have you go between the basic and the variation, because then you'll start to get a sense of that. So cool. Take care. Go to FiddleHed.com for a progressive step-by-step course outline, color-coded tabs, play-along tracks, sheet music, and much more. Thanks for watching the video. Excellent. And don't forget to subscribe. Thanks.